You gotta see this one. It should be clear to everyone that modern left journalists have strayed far from their original purpose of unbiased reporting and holding power accountable. Instead, they resort to attacking their political opponents to silence them. Rather than engaging in fair debate and objective journalism, they employ character assassination and misrepresentation to push their boss's agenda. And that's exactly what happened with Tucker Carlson, where a reporter from Australia Associated Press, AAP, was trying to frame and accuse him of multiple things, but he wasn't having any of it and was quick to put the young lady in her place. Before I delve deeper into it, watch the clip.
So you talked a little bit about immigration, and in the past you've talked about how white Australians, Americans, Europeans are being replaced by non-white immigrants in what is often referred to as the Great Replacement Theory. This is the same...
Have I said that whites are being replaced?
Well...
I don't think I said that.
Well, it's been mentioned on your show 4,000 times. And
really, when did I say that?
On your show.
I said whites are being replaced?
You have said that before.
Really?
Yeah.
I would challenge you to cite that, because I'm pretty sure I haven't said that. I said native-born Americans are being replaced, including blacks. I've never said that whites are being replaced. Not one time, and you can't cite it.
Untrue.
So we just met, but when our relationship starts with a lie, it makes it tough to be friends.
She'd find a really hard time citing her claim because, simply put, it didn't happen, and she's not alone in what she's doing. The MSM has the tendency to twist words and create narratives out of thin air to push specific agendas and target individuals. This practice, which is referred to as media spin, focuses on selectively presenting facts, omitting context, or outright misrepresenting statements to fit a preconceived storyline. This technique is often used during interviews or speeches where complex ideas are reduced to simplistic and sometimes misleading headlines. The resulting narratives can paint individuals in an unfairly negative light, igniting unwarranted outrage and backlash. And by the way, do subscribe for more discussions like this. Another common strategy is the use of loaded language and sensationalism. MSM often employs emotionally charged terms and phrases designed to evoke strong reactions from the audience. This approach not only captures attention, but also reinforces the desired narrative by framing subjects in a specific way. For example, referring to peace protests as riots or dissenters as extremists, which significantly alters public perception and undermines legitimate discourse. The MSM also engages in witch hunts like this young woman is doing, with the aim of targeting individuals for their viewers or actions and with little regard for fairness or accuracy. The impact of these practices extends beyond individual harm, as they also contribute to a polarized and mistrustful society. But Tucker wasn't done here. He explains his view further in this next clip.
I'm happy to explain what I do think. Well, you actually can't say it because I didn't say it, and I don't believe it, and I'm telling you that to your face, so why don't you just accept me at face value? My concern is that the people who are born in the country are the main responsibility of its leaders. And as noted earlier, when those leaders shift their concern from the people whose responsibility it is to take care of to people around the world to put their priorities above that of their own citizens, that's immoral. And they are being replaced in my country, people who are born in the United States, and the birth rate tells the whole story. They are not at replacement rate. And so the US population is growing because we're importing people from other countries. And my view is that happy people have children, and a functioning economy allows them to do that. And we don't have that. And so you need to fix the economy and fix the culture and make it so that people who want to have kids can. You don't just go for the quick sugar fix of importing new people. Like, that's my position. And if you think that's racist, that's your problem.
I never called you a racist.
There's absolutely nothing racist about Tucker's view because it's based on real data. To put things into perspective, the US fertility rate has been on a constant decline for the past decade, and according to the CDC in 2023, quote, the general fertility rate in the United States decreased by 3% from 2022, reaching a historic low. This marks the second consecutive year of decline following a brief 1% increase from 2020 to 2021. From 2014 to 2020, the rate consistently decreased by 2% annually. During the same period, the population has constantly been growing year after year, as shown in this graph, so what gives? The answer is simple. It's the massive influx of immigrants into the country, and I'm talking about both legal and illegal. The Center of Immigration Studies found that, and I quote, the foreign-born or immigrant population, legal and illegal, hit new record highs in March 2024 of 51.6 million and 15.6% of the total US population. Since March 2022, the foreign-born population has increased 5.1 million, and largest two-year increase in American history. This proves that since the Democrat-led government's implementation of a different approach where they focus more on immigration rather than improving the birth rate through economic improvements and job creation, discussing these demographic changes and immigration policies is not inherently racist. It's the expression of legitimate concerns about the economic and social impacts of immigration. Citing factual statistics and government data to analyze population trends is a matter of public policy, not prejudice. Despite all of his sound arguments, the reporter continued her attempts to frame Tucker as a racist. Just watch the next clip to see what she says.
But of course you are suggesting, and no, I must say, one of the reasons people don't like people like you in the media is that you never say exactly what you mean. Your slurs are all by implication. And the whole point of your question was to be like, you're a scary racist.
Well, I haven't.
And my response is, no, I'm not. Okay, well, how about no more lying in your questions, and then I'll answer it.
Okay, well, this is the same theory, or as you say, idea, that has inspired the New York Buffalo shooting where 11 black Americans were killed. Two white Americans were killed.
Like,
it's also inspired.
It's not. First of all,
it's inspired one of the worst Australian guns
of all time. How do they get people this stupid in the media? I guess it doesn't pay well. Look, I'm sorry. I've lived among people like you for too long, and I don't mean to call you stupid. Maybe you're just pretending to be, but I'm totally against violence. How dare you try to tie me to some lunatic who murdered people? How dare you, actually?
To give a bit of context, it's not the first time that Tucker talks about his stance on immigration, because as I've mentioned, this issue's been increasing in severity over the past decade. In 2022, a gunman took out 10 people in addition to wounding 3 at a local supermarket in Buffalo, New York. This criminal was motivated by the Great Replacement theory, which argues that there is a plan in motion to replace white Americans with immigrants. But the thing is, Tucker never mentioned such a theory in any of his shows, although the MSM tried to tie him to this case and engaged in some really racist rhetoric. They went as far as campaigning to deplatform Tucker and effectively end his career. This move seemed more like a coordinated attempt to silence a prominent voice that challenges their narratives rather than a genuine concern for public safety. Tucker's critics often accuse him of promoting divisive ideas, but it's essential to distinguish between discussing immigration policies and endorsing extremist theories. The MSM's efforts to associate him with such a tragic event without evidence reflect a broader strategy of character assassination and censorship. It raises serious questions about media integrity and the lengths they will go to suppress dissenting opinions. Continuing with the video, the reporter wasn't done pushing her agenda just yet. Watch what she has to say in the next clip.
Well, so you don't think you harbor any kind of responsibility for these hate crimes?
I'm sorry, I'm trying to be charitable. I was like, maybe you're just pretending to be dumb. Now I don't think it's an act.
Tucker, thank you for taking those questions. I'm sure you enjoyed some
Actually, I
questions from
loved
the
it.
press.
I just feel sorry. I mean, because I got here and the country's so unbelievably beautiful and the people are so cheerful and funny and cool and smart. I'm like, your media's got to be better than ours. It can't just be a bunch of castrated robots reading questions from the boss. And then it turns out it's exactly the same, maybe even a tiny bit dumber.
Let me tell you the reason why the issue of fake news is not confined to the United States and has become a global phenomenon as well. It all boils down to globalization, the internet, and the concentration of ownership of all major media outlets in the hands of very few super powerful companies. That's why we see them follow the same practices worldwide. These corporations have vested interest in promoting their political and economic agendas, which align with their broader business objectives. As a result, the news presented to the public is highly skewed to support these interests rather than providing balanced and objective reporting. The rise of digital media and social platforms have made this issue worse as well, since information can spread rapidly across the globe, reaching millions of people in a matter of seconds. But what are your thoughts on this? Do you think Tucker managed to put this reporter in her place? Let's get the conversation rolling in the comments down below.